welcome to Sensible Secondhand Reviews. Today it's a very special review because we've kind of broken one of the rules on the channel, which is the fact we don't talk about a certain type of fuel. But actually in this case it's we don't talk about a certain type of engine, and it's not talking about what fuels the car. This is a 2013 Mini Cooper SD with the John Cooper Works pack on it. Very confusing because there was also a Mini Cooper S John Cooper Works, which this is not. This has a 2 litre, 145 brake horsepower BMW diesel engine, and it feels very muscular. The engine feels bizarrely large for this size of car. It's a very small car with a very large engine in it. It feels very, very composed on this road. We're near Stockbridge today. This car's been supplied by Callaghan, who's actually had 3 other cars on the channel so far. But obviously, because we're still in the lockdown period, then he's not with me today like he was when we took his Celerio for a drive. The R56 Mini, which this generation is called, and we're just going to be talking about the hatch variants of the Mini, unlike, you know, things like the convertible, the R57 and the Clubman and the Countryman and all kinds of things like that. It was introduced in 2006 and was discontinued in late 2013, so this is quite a late R56. This SD version only actually came onto the market in 2011, so it wasn't sold for very long. The other engines available in an R56 Mini were they weren't good. It was what's called the Prince engine, and the Prince engine, yeah, it has its issues, shall we say. We'll get onto some of those in a bit more detail a little bit later on. But there was a 1.4 engine in what was called the Mini First, and then the Mini 1. In the Mini First, it was at the bottom of the range, introduced in 2009. It developed 75 horsepower, and in the Mini 1 it developed 95 horsepower. The 1.6 version of the Prince engine was found in the Mini Cooper, and the Mini Cooper was the most common type of an R56. That developed 122 horsepower. The turbocharged version of the 1.6 Prince engine, that developed 175, later 184 brake horsepower. That was in the Mini Cooper S. And then the top of the range was the John Cooper Works edition. That developed 211 brake horsepower. With the diesel lineup that I'm going to have to talk about because I am driving a diesel Mini today, there was a 1.6 litre Peugeot diesel engine that developed 95 brake horsepower in the Mini 1D and 110 brake horsepower in the Mini Cooper D. That was changed later for a 1.6 BMW engine. That the original one was a Peugeot unit, and that had the same power outputs as those 95 and 110. 0 to 60 in this car is quite quick. It has 145 horsepower, but it has so much more torque than the petrol ones. Even though if I'm driving an automatic version, there was a 6-speed manual version available as well. It feels just very, very punchy. I've asked Mr. Lloyd from the Max Beamer YouTube channel to give me more information about the Prince engine, and we'll be looking at some of the known flaws a little bit later. The particular type of Prince engine used in petrol R56 Minis was called the N14 and the N18. Don't know what that represents really. One of the things I really like about this car is the steering. The steering is an absolute joy to use. It's very precise and accurate. I think it's an electro-hydraulic system. And the ride, despite the fact we've got these enormous wheels on this car, is not too bad. Obviously, being an SD, that's what you get. You get really, really big wheels, and I still find it quite comfortable. If you had just a normal Cooper, it would be even better. Right, we'll go and have a look around this car when we get back to the car park, and I'll have some fun on the way. Right, viewers, I assure you when I arrived in this car park that we didn't have so much going on. I'm sure everyone more space, but never mind. Anyway, let's take a look around this car with the fuel that we don't talk about on the channel most of the time. It is a little bit dirty because, as you know, we are still in lockdown at the moment, and also a lot of the car washes are closed, and Colin's been trying to find somewhere to get the car cleaned and he's not been successful, so never mind. We'll go inside and put the funny key in this little slot here. There we go. Because this is an automatic car, we've actually got gear shift paddles here. This is set up for Colin, so I don't have the most sort of room in here. Obviously when I'm driving it's not quite like that. The car is actually, let's put that in there, I've actually got a very, very nice system here which tells you everything that everything you need to know. Wow, that's pretty good. It's quite a sort of comprehensive sort of a system, this really. You've got all kinds of sort of buttons and things that you can press. These stalks look a bit more substantial than an R50, although they're not as aesthetically pleasing. On the models that don't have climate control, this car does have climate control. The ventilation system is a little bit difficult to operate. Down here we have real throwback here. This is a connector for an old iPhone or an iPod to the USB port. Also got a 12-volt socket down there, as well as an aux in, I believe. The home button of things are here. So do you operate it like this? Oh yes, you do. There's a little twiddly thing down here. Oh, it's a little bit like an iDrive system. Isn't that interesting? And you press that there, and external devices and all kinds of things. Actually, I should point the camera at what I'm actually looking at, shouldn't I? That would be better. So we can operate it like this. It's a very nice big colour screen. We've got navigation on this as well. I think I just pressed that in. Yes, I do. That's fascinating. And also, something I've noticed, it's a difference in this car from the R50 is that we've got a little speedometer there, so you don't have to put your eyes over there all the time. I mean, you can do, but actually that's a big improvement on what's happened before. The materials in here feel very premium. Obviously, this is the S model, actually with the John Cooper Works pack on it as well, although that doesn't give you any more power, unlike in the petrol models. You do get a few more bits and pieces. We've got parking sensors on this car as well, which I would say actually it's a small car, but it's quite useful. Let's open up the glove box. I think I'm big enough for my secret mission documents. Also, there's the secret compartment here. Oh yes, I like secret compartments. Let's do that again. Yes, please. Got quite small door pockets in the sides of here. There's no coin tray or anything there. Piano black sort of finishing. It's quite a modern interior, considering this car was originally launched in 2006. This is obviously the 2013 model, so it's very close to the end of production. window switches as traditional with the BMW Minis are down here in this sort of toggle pattern here. And you've got heated seats as well. Very nice. Heated seats. Luxury compared with you know, the old Mayfair that I drove last month. Wow. It's quite comfortable, even if I haven't quite set myself up in the right position. We've got a mirror here, which is illuminated. We've got more switches here for the spot lamps and other exciting things. It's quite well thought out. I mean, you know, I think I do need climate control for this not to be a pain, but it's pretty good. The headroom would be okay. Oh yes, the mood lighting. Got the mood lighting here, and Colin has chosen green. Isn't that brilliant? Right, this is a time where I now try to get in the back. On the way round, let's go in the back and have a look at the boot. Very small boot for the price of a car, I think. But if you're buying one of these minis, the boot is probably the least of your concerns, and you can just go and buy a Clubman or a Countryman if that is a concern. 160 litres. Colin's made sure he's got the correct number of luggage nets on here. Apparently you got fewer and fewer luggage nets as production went on, which is a bit mean, really. One thing I do like about this, though, is the fact that you've got a pull handle on the inside on the left and right hand sides, which makes it a little bit easier to actually pull things down. Cooper SD, so twin exhausts, and got parking sensors on this model too. I do like the colour as well, it's very nice. So we go round and past the fuel flap, which is nice, easy to open. There's the to-be word. Oh, and also a nice selection of mini brochures as well, which I've been checking for facts. And yes, we'll hear some more of those facts a bit later on. Right, let's operate this this seat. Okay. As long as someone in a Honda Civic doesn't park right next to you so you can't get in the back, it's not too bad. Certainly easier than an original Mini anyway. Oh gosh. Right. Oh. Oh gosh. There's not a lot of room in here at all. It looks all nice in here. It's not too dark. We've got our mood lighting here that you can change for different colours. And the release at least is here, so I will be able to get out. But with the seat set in, whether the passenger was sitting last time, there's not a lot of room in here. There's not a lot of room at all. You do get a cup holder though, and you do get tiny little pockets for putting things in. That's about it. I think I've had enough already. One thing about this car that I really don't like is the bonnet release is really difficult to find. I've actually practiced opening and closing the bonnet already. I've still had difficulty trying to find it. Battery is actually under this cover here. Brake fluid reservoir is under here. But apart from that, this N47 diesel engine has this enormous plastic cover on it. Like, you know, a lot of modern German cars, Mercedes, Audi, BMW, they all seem to do it. The engine is a 2 litre. In a 1 Series it would be differently installed. This, obviously that's rear wheel drive, this is front wheel drive. There's just not a lot of room to work on anything in here. You can still see the windscreen washer fluid, and there's the coolant and everything, and there's a dipstick. It's easy enough to sort of get to that kind of stuff, and actually changing a headlamp bulb doesn't actually look that bad either, because you can get to the whole assembly if you need to do that. They don't actually move with the bonnet as they would have done in an R50 Mini. If we just close that bonnet and take in these bi-xenon headlamps, see that actually the front design of this car is very nice. The grille there at the front doesn't really do anything though. Apologies for the background noise, we've got motorbikes and things going on. And I've just realised we've got a contrasting black roof and a spoiler too. Certainly the aesthetics of this car are quite nice. I can see why somebody would just want to buy this car on, you know, the looks of it alone. I think it's time for another drive, viewers. Yes, more driving, viewers. Here we are on the mean streets of Stockbridge. I do apologise for the mount being in the way. This was the only way I could properly mount the camera and the windscreen of this car. Windscreen is absolutely tiny. I'm probably not sitting in the best position myself in this, so I'm, you know, partially to blame. But yeah, it does feel a little bit on the claustrophobic side. It feels like you're driving around in a postbox, which is exactly the same as how I felt when driving an R50 Mini that belonged to Mr. Richardson Reviewers Driving. Back in August, I think we did that on No Budget Reviews, and I'll put a link to that in the description below. One reason I never really got on with the BMW type of Mini in the past is because they're just phenomenally expensive cars for what they are, I think, and I would much rather just save my money and, you know, buy an MG3 or a Mazda 2 or something. It's just the sort of person that I am, for the money that these things cost. But it's a very different type of driving experience. You're not really focused on the sort of practicality so much. You're more focused on the sort of grin-inducing side of driving. And, you know, I'm in a 30 limit here, as you can see, and I'm struggling to, you know, keep the car under control, even if this is the diesel version. And I just feel like I've got so much torque. I mean, you know, Collins owns something like 11 BMW era Minis, and you know, he might actually be selling this one for, you know, various reasons. But I still think this is a nice little car. The only thing he said with his automatic gearbox, the 6-speed auto, in comparison to the 6-speed manual version he said before, is the fact that the fuel economy is very much hampered by the gearbox, and that is a concern. I mean, he says he gets about 50 miles per gallon, whereas before he was maybe getting 56 in his manual version. Let's do some more rigorous driving on this twisty road. Yeah, it feels good. It feels very, very planted. Ride's still quite comfortable, actually. The camera might be wobbling a little bit, but that's more due to the road surface than anything else. Yes, it feels very, very nice. It feels very punchy. One of the main differences I've got is the fact that I'm not reliant upon this central speedo here with the traffic information in it and the sat-nav. I actually do have a tiny speedometer in front of me with the rev counter, which is a huge improvement on the R50, but the only speedometer you got was actually the one in the middle, and that is a deliberate design choice harking back to the original 1959 car, where they had a speedometer in the middle through necessity, because when they wanted to paint it, they ran a big tube through the middle of the body shell, and so the speedometer then just had a convenient place right in the middle of the dash. Also, it meant that when you converted the car from right to left-hand drive, you didn't have to worry. But yeah, this position is good. Right, we have some cyclists coming up into blind crest. Don't overtake cyclists on a blind crest unless you can see, which I can. And I just got me out of trouble there. Yeah, it's a very, very nice car to drive. I don't know if this would be my absolute top choice of, you know, under £5,000 car. I'd reckon the budget anyway a bit with this one. You can get an R56 for less than £5,000 for sure. This one, it costs a little bit more. Don't hate me, viewers. Right, here I have my secret mission documents, and it's time to look at some R56 Mini trim levels. So the bottom of the range was the first, as I mentioned, the Vendor 1, and then we have the Camden, the Cooper Baker Street, the Cooper Bayswater, the Cooper London, the Graphite, the Mayfair. Interesting callback there, because I reviewed a classic Mini Mayfair from 1989 last month on True Jacket Reviews. I'll put a link in the description below. The Minimalist, that had a few tweaks over the one or the first to make it even more aerodynamic and save fuel. The one Baker Street, the Pimlico, the Soho, the Cooper S, and of course the John Cooper Works. I don't know where this is, Cooper SD with the John Cooper Works sort of pack on it came in. You could also add some optional extras by looking through your brochures and ticking the exceptionally large options list. And of course you had the salt, chili and pepper packs for adding stuff on, and you can also have what's called the TLC servicing, which you know, actually grouped the servicing costs together, which was quite a popular option, I believe, too. So as promised, I've been in touch with Mr. Matthew Woolard from the Matt's BMW YouTube channel. Bear in mind, he has a 2012 BMW 1 Series, a 116i, with the Prince engine in it, so he's not biased against these engines in any way. It is a BMW channel, and of course I am sitting in a BMW product, so yeah, he's not overtly criticising this engine for, you know, a particularly sort of biased way. He's doing it as a fan of BMW. So the Prince engine was in the Peugeot 207, which I reviewed in Two Jacket Reviews a very long time ago, and that wasn't my favourite, I'm afraid. Yeah. Anyway, list of known faults with the N13, which is the 1 Series version of it, but I imagine the N14 and 18 engines were similar. Some N13 engines are known to vibrate. That could be down to dirty fuel injectors. They need a Italian tune-up. He recommends just using premium fuel if you can. Uneven idle. Sometimes the idling valve and throttle flap are dirty. That can have a good clean, can resolve that. Sometimes the Prince engine's a bit heavy on fuel. That might be the mass airflow meter. Make sure the car's not burning any oil. They can leak around the Vanos system. I believe the Prince engines in this car were fitted with Vanos. I could be wrong. Look at the exhaust, check the colour of the smoke. Timing change. This is the big one. The timing change on a Prince engine can break. It's not as common as it is on some engines, but that does happen. Equally, this N47 engine that's in this car, that is also known for timing chain issues. The sprockets can wear out, but the best thing to do is to make sure the oil's changed regularly, really. I think I'm going to skip over the cooling system. I'm not sure that's one that's anything more than the N13. When you start the car and you hear what sounds like a loose metal sound, but it goes away, there's a wastegate rattle. That doesn't sound like it's a particularly big problem. Somebody sorted that out just by using a VW clip to stop it having. You can actually tune the Prince engine quite happily. The 114i and 116i in the 1 Series, and I imagine the ones in this are tunable to very big numbers. One of the things about the 2011 facelift, well, I forgot to mention when we talked about the engines whilst driving, is that they switched the 1.4 engine in the first and the 1 to the 1.6 litre version of the same engine. They still got the same horsepower, but yes, the 75 in the 1 and the 75 in the first and 95 in the 1, but they were a 1.6 engine. So yes, that's handy from Mr. Woolard for the Matt's BMW YouTube channel. So what can I say about this R56 generation of the Mini? It's actually one of the most common cars on our roads. It's number 5 or 6 in the charts for top 10 best-selling cars, even now. And having actually driven an R50 and R56 now, I know this is a diesel one, but you know, it's locked down, and you know you've got to do what you've got. You've got to do what you can in terms of keeping content on the channel, I'm juice. But anyway, so that's it then. Thank you for joining us on Sensible Secondhand Reviews. It's a very fun car. I personally don't think it's practical enough for the money, but you know, that would be the case for lots of things like this. DS3, Fiat 500, everything really. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment below. got a Facebook page, facebook.com/Lloyd Vehicle Consulting, and also Instagram.com/Lloyd_Vehicle_Consulting. If you wish for me to feature your car on Sensible Secondhand Reviews, I'm going to put the email address, jpl745@hotmail.com, in a little card that we'll have just at the end of the video. Thank you.